Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, January 24th. I'm coming to you from my office up in Albany. We're still at the start of the legislative session, so I wanted to give you a quick snapshot of some of the issues that are on my plate to try to tackle during the coming legislative year. Number one, the working families tax credit. New York has one of the highest rates of childhood poverty anywhere in the country. That's why last year I proposed the New York State Working Families Tax Credit. This would provide direct financial assistance to families who need it most so they can buy things like food, groceries, school supplies, medicine. They get paid up to 4 times a year and would help reduce child poverty in New York by 20%. This would be a game changer for working families. Number two, immigrant justice. We know that far too many of our neighbors live in fear of engaging with local government because they're afraid that that government is conspiring with ICE to enforce immigration actions. That has no place in our communities, and we know from experience that does nothing to keep us safe. That's why I'm proud to sponsor the New York for All bill, which would prohibit local governments and local law enforcement from colluding and conspiring with ICE to enforce immigration actions. Number three, we have to keep rethinking higher ed. We made tremendous progress last year on fully funding the New Deal for CUNY. We still have a ways to go, though, to fully fund our city university system. We need more full-time faculty, more student support services, more career counselors, academic support services, mental health counselors. We need to be moving CUNY back to a tuition-free model. We've made some progress. We have a lot more to do this year. But it's not just at our public institutions. We have to think about our private institutions as well. New York has some of the most exclusive colleges and college admissions practices anywhere in the country, which is why we need to pass my Fair College Admissions Act, which would ban the use of legacy admissions as well as binding early decision action, which only serves to help privileged students. Number four, the MTA. Our mass transit system is the lifeblood of our economy. It's the lifeblood of our region, and it is on the brink. Right now, nearly 40% of the MTA's budget comes from rider revenue. It doesn't really make any sense. We don't pay for sanitation that way, fire, police, any of our other basic services. We don't pay for that way. We shouldn't pay for public transit that way. We have to dramatically change how we fund mass transit so that the mass transit system we all love and depend on can work and serve for everyone. Number five, housing. Housing, housing. We are in a housing crisis. We are in an affordability crisis. We need to be dramatically and substantially building a lot more affordable housing. Not affordable housing for people making high six figures. I'm talking affordable housing for people who are having trouble making ends meet. We have to be preserving our existing affordable housing stock, which is rapidly dwindling. And we have to be extending tenant protections to those neighbors who don't have protections right now. All of these factors combined are exacerbating our housing crisis, and we need bold action to tackle it. The governor talked about it in her State of the State this year. I'm really hopeful that this is the year we can actually get it done. Number six, reckless drivers. We've made great progress in achieving Vision Zero. Last year, for the first time since before the pandemic, we saw numbers continue to climb down, but we have to really focus now on recidivist reckless drivers. That's what I'm going to be focused on this year. The people getting 10, 20, 30, 40 speeding tickets, red light camera tickets have no place behind the wheel. I'm committed to trying to think of everything we can to get the most dangerous drivers off of our street. Number seven, Stop Silencing Survivors Act. This is my legislation that would ban the use of non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs, in settlement agreements for victims of workplace harassment or discrimination. We know all too often that people who face harassment or discrimination or even assault in the workplace um, are forced, they're coerced into signing NDAs to get just some measure of justice. This is totally unfair and only serves to perpetuate the existing power dynamics and imbalances between the abuser and their victim. We need to ban NDAs once and for all. Number eight, the BQE. We represent now 11 out of the BQE's 19 miles. This highway is a scar on the face of Brooklyn. The legacy of Robert Moses is one of environmental racism and deep community harm. We need a transformative vision that applies to the entire corridor, that shrinks the footprint of the highway, helps protect environmental justice communities, and also helps move us towards our climate goals. I'm working with all of my colleagues in government to make sure that we have a robust plan and vision for the future of the BQE. But we can't get to that vision until we address the issues of freight and trucking and last mile warehousing that are affecting communities, especially Red Hook and Sunset Park. Which leads me to number nine, the environment. We also have a coastal district here in District 26. We know that the climate crisis is upon us. We cannot wait. We need bold climate action, which is why I'm proud to be sponsor co-sponsor so many of the bills in the New York Renews package, which would help us fully fund our climate goals. New York has set some of the most ambitious climate goals in the country. Now we got to figure out how to pay for it. The New York Renews package will help us get there. And last but not least, an area that I think is of concern to a lot of folks is the intersection of social media and kids. Kids today are exposed to some of the worst on the internet, and social media and big tech are leaving kids incredibly vulnerable, which is why I've proposed the Child Data Privacy and Protection Act. It would ban targeted advertising at kids, regulate what types of data can be collected about kids, regulate the privacy protections that kids are allowed to access, and also regulate how these exploitive algorithms can operate around young users. This is the frontier we need to be worried about, the intersection of big tech, social media, and our children, and it's an issue that I am increasingly focused on. So that's just a quick snapshot. There's a lot more to talk about, a lot more I didn't get to. If you have any ideas for me, please reach out to my office, call, email, tweet, Facebook, whatever. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you guys around the neighborhood. Have a great day.